Hello, my EP-M.4 students, and welcome to the EN30202 exam review for Reading and Writing 2. So in this review, we're going to look at the different topics that are on the exam, and for each topic, we're going to look at what will be included. In other words, what do you need to know for that topic? We'll do a brief review of the content there if necessary. We'll look at which class materials the information comes from. In some cases, we'll look at an analysis of the exam task, and you'll have some additional exam practice to help you prepare for the test. So let's go ahead and get started. Here, you can see the content sheet for EN30202. Take a few seconds to familiarize yourself with the content. So here we can see there are going to be 6 things tested on the test. Collocations about finance, commonly confused words, linkers of contrast, articles, reading, and writing for IELTS Academic Part 1. We're going to start by looking at vocabulary and the collocations about finance. In the unit materials, you can find these in classwork from 14.1, where we started our unit on finance vocabulary and building complex sentences in exercises 1 with these items, 2 for the items in bold, 3 in the spidergram, and 4, and 3.2 in the practice activity. These are the items that may appear on the exam. They will be tested with an open clause activity. In this task, you will be given a short text on the left, and you need to choose the correct option to complete the text on the right. On the exam, you may see some question 0 or example questions. These are only to show you how to do the task, and it is not necessary to answer them. Let's do this number 0 together. Here we have our text. So let's see. Moving away from home for the first time can be expensive, and many young people are shocked at how quickly they ant money on everyday things such as food and transport. Withdraw doesn't work because that's only from an ATM. Afford isn't about money, and own isn't, we're not talking about our things and our possessions, so we're going to stick with answer number 1, which is waste. Take about 6 minutes, work on your own, and complete the other questions. All right, time is up. If you need more time, you can pause the video and continue when you're ready. So let's go through the answers together. Number one, those who decide to rent an apartment instead of living with family soon realize that monthly costs add up. Waste doesn't work because we don't waste apartments. Withdraw is about cash. Own an apartment instead of living with family is unnatural. We would say to buy an apartment or to purchase an apartment. But own, well, not necessarily in this situation. Even small expenses like using a cash point to get cash can involve extra charges. Because cash point is another word for ATM. Account is what you have in the bank. Deposit is what you do when you put money into the bank, not take it out. And currency is a type of money. For example, the Thai baht or the US dollar. Banks often encourage students to open an account and stay in credit so that they avoid penalty fees. In credit means that you have money in your account. Stay broke, it would be a problem. The bank probably doesn't like that. Unaffordable is about things, not about people. And well off, well, I'm sure the banks would like people to stay well off, but this isn't something they usually encourage people to do. Because well off means be wealthy. The bank can't encourage us to say, go be wealthy today. However, unexpected bills may force people to borrow money or even apply for a short-term bank loan to cover urgent costs. But payback is the opposite of borrow. This is when I return the money. Withdrawals from an ATM and get back is, for example, when I return a product to the shop and I get back money, such as a refund. So borrow is the only option that works in number 4, to take for a short time. Apply for a bank loan is a more formal way to do this, like we do in banks. Financial advisors recommend keeping part of any salary as a deposit, so there is some protection if emergency occurs. In other words, keeping it in your account and not removing it. Rent does not work here because we're not talking about apartments, we're not talking about ATMs, and currency doesn't make full sense here. So on the exam, you will have a task where you will need to do the same. Let's now turn our attention to the next point which comes up on the exam, which is commonly confused words. These words are first introduced in our unit on culture and the arts. In the first tab, or in the first section, in activity 2. Here, we had several sentences with the words festival, exhibition, event, and performance. On the exam, you will need to also distinguish between these words. In this part of the exam, you will be given 6 sentences. Each of the sentences can be completed with one and only one of the words above. For example, the city organized a summer celebrating local food traditions with cooking demonstrations and street parades. Here, the best answer is 2, festivals. Events, well, we know there's many different events as part of this, so it's a bit too narrow of a meaning. Performances, well, parades are not quite a performance. This would be more about dances and concerts. Exhibitions is more about displays of art. So the best answer here is festival. So in this gap, I'm going to write the number 2. Work on your own. Take 4 minutes. Do the same for the others. Time is now up. As always, if you need more time, you may pause the video and continue when you are ready. Let's check together. The theatre cancelled tonight's performance because the lead actor was ill, because this is about a stage play. Our school is planning a charity event because it's not about artwork. It's not big enough to be a festival. The art gallery's new exhibition because it's about art. Several outdoor events. We know that it's not a festival because there's no theme. A cinema is not an exhibition, nor is it a performance. So event is the best fit. And visitors were impressed by the final dance performance because it's on a stage. You will need to do the same in the exam. In the next part of the test, we'll look at linkers of contrast and building more complex sentences. Linkers of contrast were originally discussed in classwork 14.1. If we go to tab 2, building complex sentences, this is where we were introduced to items like while, whilst, nevertheless, and though, as well as things like even though, whereas, and still. These are the items that can appear in this part of the test. Let's look at how these will be tested. In this part of the test, you will be given a set of sentences where you will need to choose the correct answer 1, 2, 3, or 4 to complete each sentence. Let's do the first one together as an example. Online banking is convenient. Many older customers still prefer to visit branches in person. Here, we'll choose even though. We can't use but because but would go in the second part of the sentence. Is convenient, but many older customers. The same with still. Online banking is convenient, still many older customers, and the rest of the sentence. Whereas works grammatically, but it doesn't work by idea. We use whereas to compare two things that don't influence each other. But here, these two things do influence each other. Take 5 minutes, work on your own, and complete the rest. Time is up. If you need more time, you can pause the video and then click resume when you're ready to continue. Let's check together. Digital payments are becoming more common worldwide. Nevertheless, cash continues to be widely used for small purchases. Here, we need nevertheless because we started a new sentence. While would work by idea, but it needs to be in the same sentence. Becoming more common worldwide, comma, while cash continues to be widely used. Furthermore doesn't work because this adds similar ideas, not opposing ideas. And despite doesn't work because we need a noun after despite this or despite something. And number 15, whereas some people enjoy online shopping, others worry about the security of their personal data. Here, we compare two groups of people who aren't really connected with each other. Because of this, we can use whereas. Number 16, many financial apps promise to help users save money. We'll use nevertheless again here. Not all of them provide accurate budgeting advice for the same reasons as in number 14. Although is closer to working, but it needs to be in its own phrase. Help users to save money, comma, although, no comma, not all of them provide accurate budgeting advice. Number 17, even though contactless cards are fast and easy to use, they can encourage overspending. Here, buttons still don't work for the same reasons we mentioned before. Whereas also doesn't work here because these two things are connected. These are both qualities of contactless cards. Finally, interest rates have remained low for several years, although borrowing money has become cheaper for consumers. Here, as we mentioned before, because it's one sentence, we need although and not nevertheless. Make sure to review these before the exam because this is often a very challenging area for students. In the next part of the exam, we're going to have a look at articles, which we revised as part of our unit on arts and culture. If you return to our unit on arts and culture and you go to the tab Grammar, you can see the activities that we completed based on the revision of articles. Here, you'll need to know all the same rules that we practiced and revised in the lesson. So I recommend going back over the materials here and the answers to recall what those are. This content point will be checked via an activity like the one here. You will be given a short article or a short piece of text, and you will need to choose the correct article in each gap. We have an example done for us. I went to A, N, or the, or nothing photography exhibition last weekend. Here the answer is A, because it's the first time we've mentioned it. Take 5 minutes, complete questions 19 through 30, and then we'll check. Time is up. If you need more time, you can hit pause and then resume the video when you're ready to continue. Let's talk about the answers all together. I recently attended an acting workshop because it's the first time we've heard about it, organized at the community theater near my home. We know which community theater, it's specific, so we need to use the. The workshop, because we've already mentioned it, focused on the development of stage confidence. This is that word pair we talked about, the of. Focused on the development of stage confidence and improvisation skills. Participants took part in a range of exercises led by professional actors. We don't know which ones, several of whom had worked in the television and film industry. We know which industries, so we need the. It's specific. One session explored how body language is uncountable, so we don't need an article, can express emotion without words, while another introduced the techniques used to project voice in large venues. I particularly enjoyed the activity on character building. We know about the workshop and the activities, and it's a specific one, although I found the warm-up routines surprisingly challenging. Overall, it was an inspiring experience. I've had more than one inspiring experience in my life, so this is non-specific, and certainly worth the effort I made to attend. Make sure that you revise these rules and that you understand why each article is used in each case. For your records, here's a copy of the answer key with a short explanation of why each of these is correct. Now we turn our attention to the reading part of the exam. In the reading part of the exam, we're going to focus mostly on a type of task called yes, no, or not given. On yes, no, not given can be found in our assignment on the story of Zero. In section 5, where a brief explanation of how to approach this task is given. Take about 3 minutes to read the information and remember how to do the task. Now, we're going to approach a task together. We'll do one example as a group, and then you'll have some to do on your own. Here, you can see the first question. We need to decide if this is yes, no, or not given. The text suggests that many school leavers feel confident about handling real life money decisions. So I'm going to look for a sentence here about leaving education. Most people managing money. Here we go, right at the beginning. Although schools increasingly discuss budgeting and saving, a recent survey suggests that a large number of young adults still leave education feeling unprepared for real financial decisions. So here, this to me says the opposite of what the text says. It tells me that many school leavers feel unconfident. So I'm going to say that this is no, for the reason that we've given above. Now, you'll work on your own. I'll show you the questions one at a time. For each question, you'll have approximately 2 minutes to find the answer. At any point, if you need more time, pause the video and then hit resume when you're ready. Question 2. Question 3. Question 4. Question 5. Okay, finalize your answers. Now, check your ideas with the answers on the screen. If you need to, refer back to the text in order to make the answers make more sense to you. Now, let's look at the final part of the exam, writing for IELTS Part 1. We focused on IELTS Part 1 at the very end of our unit on culture and the arts, where we looked at how to analyze pie charts and bar charts. On the exam, you'll only need to analyze pie charts. You can refer back to our notes from these lessons for examples of an effective Part 1 essay. Let's take a look at a task similar to the one that you'll have on the exam together. Here, you can see two pie charts showing people's preferences of how they like to enjoy the arts in 2010 and 2024, respectively. You'll need to summarize the information by selecting and reporting on the main features and making comparisons where necessary. For now, take about 3 minutes, read the pie charts, and on your own, make notes of the key information. Then we'll discuss together. All right, if you need more time, as always, you can pause the video and hit resume when you're ready to continue. From the first pie chart, you should have noticed things like the fact that live theater and cinema had a very large proportion of the data, and that online streaming had a relatively small share of users. However, this changed greatly in 2024, where online streaming now made up 31%, increasing almost 3 times, while cinema and live theater decreased significantly. On the other hand, street art and festivals and art galleries and museums remained more or less consistent, with no change in street art and festivals and only a very minor decrease in art galleries and museums. So for us to better understand how to comment on this, let's have a look at an example essay. Here you can see a model essay. Before we discuss it together, read it yourself and evaluate it as an examiner. Look at questions 1 through 6 on the left, read the essay, and answer the questions to yourself. Take about 5 minutes for this, then we'll talk together. Time is up, but if you need more time, pause the video and click resume when you're ready. So, question, does it represent the data accurately? Yes. We can see that the percentages here are accurately represented and that these are very clearly mentioned throughout both body paragraphs at the bottom. There's a clear development ideas because it follows a very nice structure of introduction, overview, body 1, and body 2. This helps it to stay focused and continue developing its ideas while also having a very clear structure that's easy to remember. Is it well connected with linking words? Again, the answer is yes. We have linking words like while, relative clauses, in contrast, overall, in 2010, with, making it, whereas, at that time, by, while, and lastly, and. But we also have a very nice shortened relative clause instead of proportion who attended, proportion attending. So yes, we've got very well-connected ideas along with a good range of grammar and also vocabulary, as there are very few words that are repeated. One way they could further improve the answer is by reducing their own repetition. For example, one thing that could be improved here is repetition of the words like street arts and street arts, festivals and festivals, especially given that these are the same words that were used on the chart which we were given. This is a missed opportunity to show a wider range of language. So try to go away from the words that are given to you in the task and use your own words as much as possible. Is the work error-free? Yes, there are no mistakes. And does it meet the word limit? Also yes. So by and large, not a perfect answer, but a relatively good answer. You will need to produce something similar to this when you answer your question on the exam. And that concludes the exam review for EN30202. If you have any questions about the content or what you're expected to know for the exam or how it's going to be checked, you can please let me know and I'll be happy to answer any questions which I can provide the answer to. Good luck and happy studying.